And it was also a day to remember another tragedy, this one the Holocaust during World War II. A luncheon at Fort Sill honored a native Oklahoman whose parents survived that horrific time. 7 News reporter Scott Miller attended the event and has author Michael Korenblit's story. Scott?
Dave, he was born in Ponca City, Oklahoma in 1951, not long after his parents moved from Europe. There weren't many Jews in Ponca City, but his parents didn't care. They were looking for a new start in America after surviving the Holocaust. Until We Meet Again is a story about survival in one of the worst times the world has ever known, the slaughter of more than 6 million innocent Jews. But it's also a love story starring Michael's parents, his mother Manya and Meyer, his father. Little Michael was 6 when he saw the tattoos on his parents' arms, and they told him
there were these bad people who looked at Jewish people as not being good, even though we are good people. And so they decided that they were going to kill lots of the Jewish people. And included in those Jewish people that were killed were most of your family's members.
What would have been his grandparents, aunts, and uncles, and all of his cousins were killed. When the Nazis invaded Poland, even though his mom and dad were teenagers, they were in love. They knew Nazis were killing Jews, and they didn't want to be separated. So his mother chose to leave her family and go with Meyer. The very next day, her parents and the rest of her family were killed. They went from one concentration camp to another, lived through things that most of us can't even imagine. So where's the love story? Well, Manya was kept alive by her friends.
And the promise that she made to my father, and that was the thing that got my father through. Neither one of them was going to be one not to fulfill that promise of meeting back in their hometown.
Years later, they met again. When Manya was liberated by the Russian army, she was 5'1" and weighed 65 pounds. When the U.S. military liberated Meyer in April of '45, he was 5'9" and weighed 78 pounds. But he refused to hate or seek revenge.
The ones that liberated my dad had also captured a group of Nazi soldiers, and they had them on the other side of the hill where they were guarding them. And the American soldiers said, "We'll give you our guns, and we will take you over there, and we will leave you there alone." And my dad and his 4 friends said no. If we were to do that, we would be no different than the Nazis who were doing all of this to us.
Meyer and Manya were married and lived happily until her passing a few years ago. Michael wanted to know more about the Holocaust and his parents' experiences, but since they didn't talk to him about it, he figured they didn't want to talk about it at all. Meyer and Manya thought that since Michael didn't ask, he didn't want to know. Eventually they talked and the book was born. A story of survival, a love story, and a lesson. Love one another, because nothing good comes from hate.